All right, let's jump right in. When we talk about Haiti, the conversation almost always lands on poverty, disaster, and political chaos. But what if that's the wrong story? What if we've been looking at it completely backward? Let's try to reframe Haiti's history, not as a narrative of failure, but as this incredible 200-year fight for the right to simply exist, in a world that was literally built to deny them that right from day one. This quote? Wow. It just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? From the second it was born, Haiti wasn't just another new country. No, it was an existential threat. Think about it. In a 19th century world running on the engine of slavery and the idea of white supremacy, a free and successful Black republic wasn't just an inconvenience. It was the bête noire, the black beast. It was a living, breathing nightmare that called the whole system into question. So, to really get this, we have to go back to the very beginning, back to Haiti's world-shattering arrival on the scene as a truly unthinkable state. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. This wasn't a nation founded by colonists. It was founded by enslaved people who rose up and defeated Napoleon's army, one of the most powerful in the world. So in the eyes of the big empires of the time, the French, the British, the Americans, this wasn't just radical. It was impossible, an aberration. And it instantly made Haiti an outlaw nation, an anomaly that, in their minds, simply could not be allowed to succeed. Okay, so if you're deemed an outlaw nation, how do you demand to be taken seriously? Well, Haiti's first leaders knew they couldn't just declare independence and call it a day. They had to actively perform their power on a world stage that was totally hostile to them. And this brings us to the core idea of our whole discussion today, Black sovereignty. This wasn't just about having borders and a flag. It was about the constant, deliberate, and strategic performance of being a state. It meant you had to act like a legitimate world power, using all the same fancy tools of statecraft, precisely because everyone else was refusing to see you as one. And you can see exactly how they did it, right here. They wrote constitutions that outlawed slavery forever, a direct jab at the French Empire. They crowned emperors. Emperor Faustin I set up this whole imperial court with dukes and counts, using the very language of power that Europeans would understand. And they sent diplomats, guys like Prince Saunders, to London and Paris to argue their case. These weren't just for show. They were incredibly savvy political moves, all designed to force the world to look them in the eye and treat them as equals. But, of course, when you push against a system that powerful, the system pushes back. Hard. Let's look at how the world actively worked to sabotage Haiti's performance, to punish this unthinkable state for daring to exist. It sounds like a joke, right? But the story of Navassa Island is a perfect, if not totally absurd, example of how far other countries would go to chip away at Haiti. And it all starts with, well, bird droppings, guano. Okay, so let's break this down. Haiti had a solid historical claim to Navassa Island right off its coast. But in the 1850s, an American company realized the island was covered in valuable guano, a super potent fertilizer. So what does the U.S. do? It passes a law saying its citizens can claim any unclaimed island with guano on it. They just declared Navassa abandoned, totally ignored Haiti's claim, and took it. It's a textbook case of economic muscle crushing sovereignty, a pattern of just taking what you want that would haunt Haiti for centuries. But the attacks weren't just about money or land. It was a battle over the narrative itself. The world powers wanted to control Haiti's story, to define what civilized meant. And there is no better example of this than the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. So at this fair, you had these two completely separate realities. First, there was the White City, these huge, grand pavilions of so-called civilized nations. Haiti was allowed in, but only if they played the part of a simple trading partner with their revolutionary Black identity completely whitewashed. Then you had the Midway Plaisance, basically the entertainment section. And there, a village from Dahomey in West Africa was put on display as this commercialized spectacle of primitive life. You see the impossible choice? To be seen as civilized, Haiti had to pretend it wasn't Black. Meanwhile, authentic Blackness was turned into a sideshow for profit. And this is where it all comes full circle, leading us right into our own time. Because these 19th century ways of undermining a nation, they never really went away. They just put on a new mask. Seriously, this isn't just a history lesson. The same dynamics, external control, economic extraction, and just a flat-out denial of Haitian agency are playing out as we speak. It's what makes the revolution feel so unfinished. Let's just think about the devastating earthquake in 2010. In the 2.5 years after, this number, $13 billion is how much money poured into Haiti from aid and donations. That is a staggering amount of money. It's the one question that was on everybody's mind. With all that cash, why did so little seem to change on the ground for everyday Haitians? The answer tells you everything you need to know about how sovereignty is still being denied today. Just look at the patterns. The huge majority of that aid money wasn't controlled by Haitians. It was controlled by foreign NGOs and governments. Big development projects, like the Caracol Industrial Park, ended up benefiting foreign companies way more than local people. It's the Navassa guano story all over again. And tragically, it was even outside forces, UN peacekeepers, who accidentally introduced a deadly cholera epidemic. It's the same story, just a different century. Decisions being made for Haiti, not by Haiti, and often with absolutely devastating results. So that really leaves us with this final lingering question. Haiti's revolution was this profound, incredible declaration of human freedom. But if the rest of the world spends the next 200 years refusing to fully recognize your right to rule yourself, to acknowledge your sovereignty, your basic legitimacy, can that revolution ever truly be called finished?